What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 15 of my Total War Warhammer 3 Malakai Makaisson Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, the cleansing of the Darklands continues apace, and Malakai has knocked out two of the Chaos Dwarfs. Nice skull pit here. Two of the Chaos Dwarf armies that were on the way through the Great Skull Lakes, and we also got a nice battle for Mr. Ungrim Iron Fist, if a little bit of an odd one there. Not to worry though, there are plenty, and I mean plenty more orcs to work through. They have like 20 settlements and probably a ton more armies. They are orcs after all, and there's a good chance that every army has a Wa attached to it as well. In terms of what we gotta do this time, we're heading to try to meet Grimgor in the hopes that he's still here at the Falls of Doom where he was previously when we were at Jarna Grund. We can't see him right now, but I don't think we want to take a hero out of any of these armies to find out, and just not worth the risk at the current time. In terms of moves, Grimbrindle will be starting the episode off with his quest battle for the Cloak of Vala, and down here we can burninate some undead by the looks of it, and though we don't know what the reinforcements are here, the quest itself doesn't look particularly difficult, but it's always nice to hear a speech, especially, well, I was about to say especially from Grimbrindle, but especially from Malakai. Everything out of that dwarf's mouth has been pure gold. But anyway, just replace all the speeches for every battle with Malakai giving commentary. I would pay good money for that DLC, like really unhealthily good money. But anyway, I just want him to be sassy about every single faction and at every single lord you meet and everything you do. It would be fantastic. But anyway, before we get into that, we did reach the engagement threshold once again, just barely so, but managed to reach it nonetheless, and thus an hour-long episode will be this one, and the next one will be the same should we reach 250 likes and 40 comments. Gromby, let's level you up and let's head into it. I believe your levels have to be given to the faction-wide buffs first, and all the other stuff second, even though there's some really good stuff here. Well, the defending one doesn't count. I'm almost tempted to say Age of Vengeance just for the quest battle, because the additional speed is pretty massive. 35% speed for the army. Granted, not the most useful for Iron Drakes, but, well, it'll speed up our battle barge, which is fairly slow. And I wonder, do the buffs from the engineers? Yes, they do. An additional 30% speed from the two engineers for the battle barge will be nice. Plus, it'll help reposition the organ guns as we might need. Anyway, Gromby, let's keep on leveling. You have Ironbeard now, so we get that additional ammunition, which we really needed for these guys. And we'll keep an eye on their ammunition, because if they do run out of it in battles, we'll probably have to get another Thane with a second Ironbeard. Yeah, this army doesn't really need Thanes themselves as units, but it's a nice buff, potentially. I mean, I suppose at the end of the day, we could ignore this and get the 20% buff via another engineer, should we really require it, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself. You, sir. You got the Rune of Slowness. We'll get 1 point in Rune of Oath and Steel. Inclined to say sharpened weapons is better than hardened armor in this particular army, simply because it raises missile strength as well, and Iron Drakes are already very heavily armored. And it's not really their armor that's going to be the issue, it's the fact that they have relatively low health for their models, and their melee defense is fine, but they have no melee attack, and thus aren't supposed to be fighting in melee anyway. Plus, I guess that'll raise Grimrindle's weapon strength further and make him a little bit fightier, and it's not like he needs armor. Yeah, that makes sense to me. So I guess sharpened weapons. Forge Fire is also tempting, the additional armor reduction, although the Trollhammer torpedoes are armor piercing, so it's not that crazy useful there. Oh, the second level of the Rune of Master, the Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin, or just regular Rune of Wrath and Ruin, to overcast it, needs level 2, meaning we gotta get to level 2 there, and fine, if we're gonna do that, then we might as well get Forge Fire. We'll wait on sharpened weapons, but we'll get them, not to worry. Increased mobility for you, and of course we need to head into ballistics calibration. Calibrate all of those ballistics, which we have plenty of, and you gotta be... Oh, damn, I should have leveled the other guy. We'll lose... well, actually, it won't matter. The increased mobility loss won't matter here, because we can... Oh, wrong. Deadeye, ballistics calibration, increased mobility. we can get the levels on these guys and then re-up that anyway. Anyway, to the Cloak of Vala, we're not going to waste the 500 gold teleporting since we're already fairly close to the place. This is like, I don't know, I think I've done this like twice ever since starting the game, actually reaching a thing there. Anyway, you, and you runes. The Thunder Barge gets the Lichbone Pennant, and if we get another one, we're definitely giving it to Malakai, because magical damage on these things? Yes, please. Scarecrow Banner is in this to protect the Thunder Barge, so we'll put it on the Gyrocopters. And lastly, the Rune of Courage. I mean, we could put it on the Scolder Guard. Immunity to Psychology for everybody up front, and the Scolder Guard will be up front in front of the Iron Drakes with Troll Hammers. Makes sense to me. Let's see what Malakai has, or Grimbrindle rather, has to say for himself. The undead army is revealed in the way Dwarf is keen to halt this trespass into Valaya's realm. It is no surprise to Grimbrindle that these dead Urks are led by a vampire. That must be dealt with quickly, but the rune that now glows brightly in the White Dwarf's cloak foretells that several waves of undead are coming. I don't know.
Our goddess has spoken to me. She who prepares the hearth, who secures our holes. Escalar have been caught sneaking about like ratmen filth, trying to gain access to our mountains unseen. Well, I see you, scum, and by Valaya's cloak, I'll have every last rotten one of you back in that ground, pushing up your tombstones! Sure about this? I promised Grungni a mighty tally, and I ain't one for breaking such an oath. So come on, let's have 'em!
Man, Grimrindle's sort of secondary pre-battle speech is just as long as the first one. Damn. That's a talkative dwarf. Anyway, here we go. We are set up relatively close to the enemy army, but the organ guns without additional buffs don't have dig in, and thus it's not like we could get range on the enemy anyway. That said, what we could have done is harass the enemy army with the battle barge and with the gyrocopters as they moved in, but it didn't feel super necessary here. Anyway, I want to see those troll hammer torpedoes work. I'll love to watch them fire. Probably not the best thing to waste on infantry here, but fairly entertaining nonetheless. Now let's see how many of these guys actually make it to our battle line. There we go. I mean, if it's good enough for trolls, it's certainly going to be good enough for zombies. Now, that's all going great, but what isn't going great is we have reinforcements arriving on the field in probably the worst possible position for us, and it is a couple of Terrorgeists arriving immediately where our army is, and followed by Fellbats, so this is going to get very ugly very fast for our back line. On the bright side, Gromby has met the enemy lord in battle and done a massive amount of damage to him, but needs to peel away to start dealing with the enemy flyers. These skeletons are still moving towards us, but are now awash in flame, as well as troll hammers. But it looks like at least a few of our troll hammers will be silenced, or at the very least stopped from firing, by virtue of the enemy range unit. Gotta keep the base units gotta keep the regular sort of fire drakes, iron drakes, firing, quite literally, as we need them to keep the rest of them away, so that hopefully the troll hammers can deal with the enemy big boys. We're gonna move on with the battle barge in, maybe drop a harpoon on that enemy Terrorgeist to try to dish out some damage, as well as a little bit of cannon fire. So we really need to bring these guys down. Hold the ground, hold the ground. On the bright side, we do have very high melee defense on our iron drakes with troll hammers, so hopefully that they can hold. More enemy reinforcements arrive from the other side in the same location, and now it's Terrorgeists dropping down on our iron drakes and our organ guns. This is probably the worst thing that could possibly happen, or at the very least the worst way enemy units could arrive on the field, so we'll see if we can't pull this off. I was certainly not expecting this, and certainly wasn't expecting this much damage, but hey, this makes the battle all that much more interesting. Grimbrindle has gone back to fight once more, and the enemy lord in a couple of hits will, I'm sure, bring him down. He activates probably another Invocation of Nehek, as he was a little bit healed up there, though by the looks of it, not so much on him as the rest of his army. And that's an issue, as the rest of his army is very much in trouble now, as the balance of power shifts to about 90%. We managed to knock out a decent amount of the enemy bats here, with a combination of these gyrocopters ripping them apart, plus the battle barge helping out, and the range units holding in melee decently. Plus, you gotta admit, the Iron Breakers, or not the Iron Breakers, the Iron Drakes look pretty darn cool, and 28 out of 28 units. Nice on this one, though a few have lost units to the Terrorgeist at this point. Gromby, one more hit should see the enemy lord go down. There we go, nice swing with his axe. And now we just gotta deal with the enemy Terrorgeist. So they are still surrounding a few of these units of Iron Drakes, and they've lost 5 of their number, but honestly it's a lot less than I was expecting, especially considering the relatively low HP per model. But they got very heavy armor, and they've got lots of melee defense, and it looks like it's enough for them to act as a pseudo-melee line. Which is exactly what we wanted. Anyway, at last the last of the enemy flyers goes down and the battle is ours. Ooh, that could have gone a lot worse, but it was a pretty darn fun fight. Ooh, alright, certainly wasn't expecting all of the aerial units coming in from the sides with no time to prepare or fire upon them, and with any of our units pleasantly surprised by that battle. If it wasn't for the pretty massive melee defense buffs that the Iron Drakes are given in Gromby's army, those 2 Terrorgeists and those 2 Vargeists probably could have done a lot more damage, and then they ended up doing. Still, they managed to knock out a couple organ guns, a few of the Iron Drakes as well, while the flamethrower units held off the basic unit tide. Although we got plenty of damage on at least one unit of Iron Drakes, and this one was right in the middle of our formation, meaning it was one of the units relatively untouched by the enemy air force. Nice, and damn, 16k damage on this regular unit of gyrocopters. Pretty impressive as well. I mean, they did drop a bunch of bombs, but for a regular gyrocopter, that's pretty solid. Execute and loot give us a little bit of oath gold. Well, I guess we're in friendly territory, so we can execute and loot. We don't need to heal, because we're going to go into encamp anyway. And Stonemason, and there we go. Now, I didn't read this before the fight because I forgot and was excited about jumping into a battle, so I'm going to give it a read now. An undead host has been discovered making its way into the roots of the mountains. The creatures were moving under a devious magical veil that left even Valea blind to their whereabouts. So she tasks the white dwarf with adding a new rune to her cloak to pierce this deceit. The rune is now in place and the location of the undead has been revealed. Although the cloak has been drained of its usual properties, they will no doubt return when this grudge has been settled. The white dwarf must purge this undead incursion into the Karazhan at once. And there we go. We got the cloak. It's got some okay stats on it. Nothing crazy, admittedly. I'm not sure it's all that much better than a Talisman of Preservation, to be perfectly honest. 16% ward save I would probably take over 6 melee defense and 5 physical resistance, especially considering the corruption isn't super relevant, the enemy hero action success chance isn't super relevant, and spell resistance, while fine, is not something that we deal with against the AI a lot, so it's okay, but it's not really us wanting the item for the item itself as it is for the faction-wide control +1 that we get for getting it. And the Rune Helm of Zufbar. It's got some okay stuff on it. Still not great, but, well, it's still worse than a healing potion or whatever. If a Gromby should need one, but at the end of the day, at 22, it'll give us another quest to fight, and, once again, it'll give us another fun fight. And, plus, that control. Anyway, you. We could get you Grimnir's Resolve. Vigor loss 50% for Lord's Army. Man, a lot of this stuff would be really good for melee units, but he buffs the engineers a lot, so yeah. Nonetheless, I think we're gonna go get up. We gotta get this maxed out. Although it would be nice to have all this stuff for when we bring down those champions, but whatever. We'll be okay. Next up, I want to level the engineers so that we have the level 2 of increased mobility, and we should get the flash bomb as well. You have the level 2, but you don't have flash bomb, and I don't really care for bare essentials, frankly. It might be worthwhile skipping this just to not lose the 30 armor. Not sure that this army will care about the speeds or the stock on those units. Break open the casks for now. Gotta get into triangulation after all. I just realized that maybe I shouldn't have even gotten bare essentials for the other engineers. But anyway, the rest of this can wait. And now, Gromby, you're gonna go into encamp oh, because we're in allied territory, we heal regardless, so we don't have to encamp. Go to the edge of this. Then, there was a suggestion that we kill the Ropsman clan, and then trade their stuff to Kislev for Carrick Valag. I guess this is a key dwarf settlement as well, so in theory we might want to be the ones holding it, which would mean breaking the alliance with these guys, though it... You know what, we're minus 3,000 gold. I don't think we can be losing 500 gold per turn right now, but it's certainly something to look into doing. Ungrim, you've got to move as well, sir. You are going to head down to the Galeries and go right here so that you're just outside of it and still healing in Jarna Grund. Cobalt Redbeard, who should definitely be a Clan Angren guy. Go back to Jarna Grund, and even though it's going to cost us more, you're going to build some cannons. This is just a temporary army just to help take a few territories belonging to the Orcs, but you can still serve. Plus, you've got some decent stuff. You got Greenskinner, you've got Undisciplined. Oh, speaking of decent stuff, Zamnil Knucklebreaker. I believe there was a suggestion after that little 1800 kill auto-resolve that he did that we name him Skavenbreaker. Oh, you know what? How about Rocky Breaker? That makes more sense. Zamnil Rocky Breaker. Now, we're going to have to let him go for the turn, but we will bring him back. He has Ranger trained, which is arguably the best of the dwarven traits for any lord, so we're definitely going to keep him. And on top of that, he has, well... I guess the only problem is... Speed plus 15 would be great with the Ranger army, but we're going to give the Ranger army to Clan Angrand. Maybe we could give him Iron Breakers. He will buff Iron Breakers. I don't think we give him the Thunderer army because he doesn't really do anything for Thunderers at all. He's all about melee, being a Dwarf Lord. Runesmith's a little bit different, but anyway. For now, you're gonna go, but we'll bring you back, sir. Alright, and just to double check, yeah, we still have him. You know what I would really love? I would really love to get an Ancestral Blood, or a Ranger trained on a Rune Lord. I'm not entirely sure it's possible, but it would be nice if it is. I'm gonna keep an eye on that. Anyway, let's see what else we've got. Kellon Deepbrow. What do we have for you? I don't think you can move, can you? I'm very tempted by this, but it's not worth the risk. It's not worth the risk because then Carrick Raziak is completely undefended right now. If it wasn't, I'd probably try it, but yeah. Otherwise, I believe we're good to go. Yes? Yes, yes. At least in this we are. Building, no, I think we can't afford to right now because of the money situation that we're in. Diplomacy we'll still want to check. There's nothing to trade to our allies, at least not at the current time. Siggy's still being a little annoyance. And oh, we do have to pick a new tech though. And that's definitely going to be Renowned Deadeye's. Gotta get that additional range for those Slayer Pirates. I do like those Slayer Pirates. Alright, well, win battles against the oh, we have a separate grudge for the vampire counts, but we also have to win battles for them, for the Malakai's adventures. That's nice. Alright, quick deals. Clan Angrand. You wanna be friends? Maybe. In fact... might be a good idea to be friends with them. Because... see, Clan Ferric and Decadent Host, eh?
True king.
Will this do anything bad to us? Is the question. I don't think so. Is there any reason not to do this? Alright. How close are we to confederating you? The Great Book of Grudges. I'm just thinking what we might want to do... Belagar. Oh, we're really quite close to it, actually. 3 turns, though, if he gets any more grudges settled... that might be the case. We'll trade... yeah, see, the trading with him will make him stronger and might make him a little bit... you know what? Let's give him a turn or two. Or 3, well, exactly 3 turns before doing that. I'm just thinking, once again, we want to confederate him. If we give him more money, he'll be able to build more forces and be stronger and settle more grudges, which will mean it'll take him longer to be confederated. I mean, technically we want to confederate Karazakarak next, but Karazakarak is so significantly far away from us in terms of their grudges settled that Angren may be the way to go. Plus, if we get Angren, we could start on Skavenblight, which is part of one of our great grudges. And I do like that. I mean, we want all of this. Yeah, see, Karazakarak is very much contiguous with our current empire. But oh well. Skip building upgrade available. No, I think we did all of those. Assuming that we can't move you anymore this turn. And it looks like we cannot. But that's fine, that's all been planned out. Damage building, outpost available, outpost upgrade available. Where's the damage building? I don't know where the damage building was. Is it here? Well, it's not here. Oh, should we build defenses here? 4 turns, eh? I mean, we could do it temporarily. We do have armies running around, but there's no guarantee that we'll get anything out of them. Anyway, let's end the turn. We're going to keep saving our oath gold till we get 1,000, because there is an upgrade in the tech tree that we may want to make use of there. Alright, Grimgor, will you move? Will you stay or will you go? And if you go, where will you go? Is gonna be the important question here. He didn't move. Fantastic. Well, hopefully he doesn't move again, because then we'll be able to send Malakai in to fight him. Non-aggression pact, non-aggression pact. Durthu still surprises me. But he's suffering so much because of the invasion of Athalor. No. No. And we have a great grudge against you, Durthu. And Clan Angren confederates Zufbar. Oh, okay, now we can confederate Angren next. Definitely. Broken Axe while fails, don't care about that. Stochel Jarbeard, more movement range, please. Would you please stop running? Okay, the Chaos Gods need to do better at punishing these jerks for running away and not giving us battle. This is so irritating, but we can't let him go because he landed one of these undefended territories, if we do. That said, Snorri is running around in the background and taking his territory, so as long as he keeps doing that, Snorri will keep doing damage to him. And that'll mean less armies for him to build, and eventually we'll catch him. I'll resolve this and loot and occupy the place. We don't really care about rebellions or anything of the like. And we'll be trading it to... Ooh, you have a gem mine, though. Upkeep -3 for Dwarf Ironbreaker and Hammers. I mean, that's nice. And we have Iron and Blood Mountain. Yeah, but it's still a red territory. Do we really want the hassle of constantly dealing with it? I don't think we do. Even though we could build everything there for free if we really wanted to, using the Architect Core. Speaking of our Engineer Core, Civil Engineers Dwarf Hold. For free. Then, you can immediately jump, and it looks like you can, up to the Forbidden Citadel as far as you can get, but not to the Altar of Spawn, so right here. And then we'll build another Tier 4 Dwarf Hold, also for free. Beautiful. And at a lovely site. How much does a regular Dwarf Hold cost? Well, how much does it cost when it's not free? 9,000. So, in one turn, this army just saved us 18,000 gold. Pretty good. Pretty darn good. Very, very nice. And yeah, that essentially, just with that one turn, it pays for like, what? Many, many turns of this army. And that's discounting the fact that we're toting around these grudge settlers, which the only reason we're toting them around is because they're kind of rare. Anyway, Malakai. Oh, actually, I just want to... you can't reach him? Nah, you can't reach him. Now, something to send Ungrim to Grimgor. No, you know what, it's fine. We'll send Malakai to Grimgor. I was thinking, because I'd rather have the Ironhide trait. I don't remember what the trait is called. Greenskinner Azazag. Well, whatever the trait is. I'd rather have it for Ungrim than for Malakai, because he doesn't fight in melee. On the other hand, this guy has so many territories that we're pretty much guaranteed... Oh, hello. Ooh, Plague, I don't like that. We're pretty much guaranteed to meet Grimgor again. I'll resolve this and occupy it. Nice, nice, nice. Another Slayer Ward. Yeah, now we're getting Slayer Wards every single damn turn, but the game didn't give them to us for the first, like, 40 turns. What the frickin' hell? With a full Slayer army, I'm so salty about this. Oh, unbelievable. Anyway, Malakai, move here. Move here. I'm just close. I'm actually move as close as you can. If these guys want to sally out of the Falls of Doom, I certainly wouldn't mind it. Hopefully they don't try to bypass you. You, sir, Cobalt. Get another couple of cannons.
Armed and ready.
Well, I guess Malakai will still have to do it. I was thinking maybe we have you take the territory, but then we wouldn't get the defeat rate. And who knows if Malakai will encounter Grimgor again. We can maybe use you to take the Veil of Woe, because it's full of garbage hobgob troops. Anyway, King Lun, go to the blasted expanse for now. You still have to reach Ungrim to transfer him all of the Slayers. While you, Norgrim, you're going to go into tunneling, and you're going to try to get to Kalon to transfer him some of this stuff. We will also, perhaps, want to delete you and you, because there's no purpose for you, at least not here. We could re-recruit them as needed. Keeping the Grudge Settlers, these two are both Grungni, right? Yeah, they are. So they'll be quite useful in these territories. Oh, you know what I maybe should have done? Walked by Khazad-dûr-Khazad to build this for a lot cheaper, but anyway. We can deal with that. And alright, our money is positive again. Probably not for long, because as soon as we confederate Angrand, if we can, then, yeah. We have to get to the Frozen Landing now. You, sir. I guess you're going tunneling.
I'll see it done.
And I'm going to just double check that the rats are definitely there. Okay. I'm 90% sure because yeah, they're there. They are there. You little ratlings, hiding in the Frozen Landing, ain't you? And, wow, they don't even have enough to corrupt the place. Poor Buck. Oh, and he's just building piles of Skaven slaves. There's nothing he can do with any of that. But anyway, let's keep on going. Ooh. Did we just trespass in these guys' territory now? Huh, wait. Oh, no, we actually jumped over their territory via tunneling. I didn't actually mean to avoid the trespass, but it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. We are in defensive alliance with you. Should probably actually be in military, but I'm not paying you 7,000 gold for that. Oh, this is dropped. It's unfortunate. Golden Order wants military access. Middenland wants a military alliance. Ooh, Northern Provinces wants a military alliance. Yes, please. I want some Thunder Barge. I want an all-air army, and an all-air army will involve Thunder Barges and Skyjunks working together. And yes, we will 100% abso-frickin-lutely build an all-air force army. Doubtless. Military alliance. I built an outpost with you, right? And it's at Snake Gate. Alright, once we have enough cash, we'll obviously upgrade that, though we also will want to take a look at ally missions. We've got something with Nuln. Kill Vlad, kill Rambert, who is somehow worth more than Vlad for some reason. But Vlad is... okay, who's closer? Meinred and Sigvald are both closer, and they're worth the same. Whatever, it doesn't matter which one. Just pick one, kill him. Send him back to the grave. How are we doing out here? Carl's running around, with... He's backing off, eh? He has the Nemesis Crown as well. Fledgling Crown, minus 20 with all factions, eh? If we keep allying with him. Huh, but diplomatic relations with Empire plus 30. That's kind of interesting. Just fine. I'm a little bit concerned about him moving away, and if we confederate Clan Angrand, we'd open up a pretty big front with Sylvania. I would really prefer if you destroyed Sylvania, though. Anyway, let's keep on moving. Constructor Thunderstone, you are to join the Engineer Corps, and I guess you're gonna meet them at... I was gonna say Krakadrak, but they're gonna be there before you know it. Might be faster to move this way. Move this way for now. We probably won't bother building the defenses that help it. Let's be real here. Oh! I'm just wondering whether it might be more beneficial to give these guys help it so that they can build something out of it. As in, build a bunch of military structures and thus allow us to build more of their stuff. It's certainly a thought, but it's not super critical right now. Otherwise, we're looking pretty good in terms of this turn. And just gotta double check if there's any buildings to build. Oh, we weren't done with Diplo because I got distracted by all the, well, the Diplo. Clan Angrand, oh, right. Maybe we do this after all. Oh, right,
It
this.
is time.
Go for it.
Welcome, brothers in Empire's
Let's be
blessed.
friends. Right.
To battle? What?
And Middenland. Screw it, do the military alliance. Give us your money.
Make your offer.
Right.
Give us your money, we don't care if Middenland dies. At the end of the day, they don't have enough territory to provide us land ships, which is, and possibly steam tanks, which is what we want. And I love to compare Hellblasters and organ guns on the same team. That would be fun in an army. Though I guess I could do that in the Elspeth campaign as well, depending. Oh, I gotta make sure that I don't do the same things army-wise in this campaign and the Elspeth campaign, because they're both really fun, but both have a lot of guns and stuff. Anyway, I think we're gonna do this. Not so much, I mean, we're just gonna ignore the fact that this will make them more powerful. Plus, since they have to pay us, even with the additional trade, it'll sort of counterbalance it, I guess. Let's do it.
If you say so.
Let's do it. Stay friends. Argwalon, still no.
Who calls?
And in fact, we might go there to cut down Durthu and increase his PTSD from the War of the Beard. Altar of the Spawns. Toolmaker's Workshop. Yes. Oh, actually no, because Architect can move there next turn, so why would I do that here? No. Only stuff that's too far away for us to reach. Like Silver Pinnacle, yes to the gem mine, and we will build the sealed tombs in a little bit. In Krakadrek, we're heading over there with the engineers now. Kazidirkulaz, we can ignore the refectory. Nalfari Plain, I think this is far enough away as to... Well, actually, it's not that far. How much does this cost? 1.8k. It's fine, just build it. No need to move over there. Monolith of Katam, you're fine. Rib Peaks, you are fine by the looks of it. You, Karakadrin, are fine as well, though upgrading this would give us more research and engineer capacity, which we currently do lack. Yeah, fine. It's expensive, but we need additional engineers for some of our newer armies. Jarna Grund has to be completely retooled with what we have there in terms of buildings, but we can't do it right now. Troll Fjord is definitely too far from the engineers, but we have to build it right now. Ugh, I wish it wasn't so expensive, but we need the upgrade for the watch room. Simply because this place is very much on the coast and very likely to get attacked. In fact, I fully expect Mr. Bellicor to come a calling sooner rather than later. Great Skull Lakes will upgrade you at least for relatively cheap. And Fort Dorjny Fort will be up next. Just gotta make sure this place doesn't rebel. And you know what, I guess we'll take out the ranger thing and replace it with the... possibly public order building. Anyway, Bloodfire Falls, Tower of Torment. We'll still trade you away, but we're saving it just in case we have other uses for it, and that's about it for this turn. Alrighty, more range for the Slayers. Outposts available, damage buildings. Oh, damn, I keep skipping those damage buildings. My bad, my bad. Alright, wait, how many more turns to Confederation? 2, damn. How are those grudges looking? Excited about this. We need 36,000. Right now we have enough. 36,543. Alright, just gotta... If we kill Grimgor, that's a big chunk of grudges. It might actually get us to 25% before the Age of Reckoning thing is over, which would be just swell. At least we won't have the negative debuff from only the first stage. Alright, Castelton. Joan Morgan's... Dude, just kill the scaling. They have one territory and no army. Oh, okay, they just took another territory. Damn you, Rasputin. But anyway, Avalorn, Nagarond, Blessed Dread, Clan Rictus, Clan Eshin. Not at war with those. At least not yet. We'll probably want to send a contingent down to Cathay, and what the heck? We just got a bunch of vision everywhere. Huh, that's interesting. We just gained a bunch of vision from Angron, did we? Wonder why. Confederation from Middenland. Okay, oh, I guess they did die. Well, I guess they didn't die, but they were badly enough damaged to be willing to confederate. And, oh my, look at that. And the Disciples of the Maw have taken Miragliano. That's kind of interesting. Man, it is absolutely hectic back here. Look at Clan Angron. It is completely surrounded by enemies. A Bloody Hands, Broken Axe, Scryer Skaven, and Disciples of the Maw, and Pirates of Sartosa. I can't wait to confederate these guys. It's going to be so fun defending the holds around Karak-Azor. I would really love to restore the underway network here, though, so that we can move Malakai down to help. Just imagine, like, your holds are beleaguered, surrounded on all sides, and then seeing the airships moving towards you on the horizon, obliterating the enemy armies. That's your beard a tingle, doesn't it? Anyway, iron price, please. Upkeep production for Thunderers and Slayer Pirates. We're near to the Oath Gold that we want, because we want... I don't remember what I wanted. Allegiance points... I mean, honestly, all of this is great. I guess it's a construction cost reduction that would be swell. Population surplus for newly captured settlements is pretty solid as well, especially if we capture stuff at tier 2. Currently, moving things to tier 3 will mean that every single capture saves us 4,000 gold, especially those far away from our engineers. But anyway, we strike, yes? Yes? I'm wondering whether we should strike at the Falls of Doom. Does it have defenses? Garrison headquarters. I can't see what kind of building that is. I can't see its color. This doesn't add walls here, does it? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong frickin' thing. It's the Falls of Doom. No, you don't have walls. You don't have walls. So it would be a field battle. It's just that this guy needs to die, because if he doesn't die, then he'll move away and besiege us, or just be an annoyance. Well, anyway, Malakai, get ready, sir. I believe we're holding on to your points, because I was thinking about perhaps going for Lightning Strike, mostly because you have all the really useful stuff. What the heck are you getting 2 armor from? Is it... What are you getting 2 armor from? I was just curious. I guess... Wait, Trickster's Helm gives 2 armor? What the heck is this? What is this? Why would it... Okay. No, I'm just thinking about the person who was, like, coding this and deciding the stats here. I'm gonna put +2 armor on this. Why? It just, oh, it's a blue item, so it needs to have 3 stats. Let's I don't know. It's just bizarre to me, but anyway. Let's level up Felix and Co. Fleet-footed is the last thing you don't have. And Gotrek, Relentless, I guess you both can run a teensy bit quicker. Ulrika. You still missing all of your fighty tree, but you have most of your mage tree up and running now. You could go for the Withering, but frankly... 99% of the time we're casting Pit of Shades, well, okay, fine. 80% of the time we're casting Pit of Shades, and then the occasional Penumbral Pendulum. The other stuff is fairly rare, especially because we're in a ranged army, so I think we can freely go to the, her fighty portion of her tree. Prudent Defender. Granted, she is generally running around and kiting enemies because she's a mounted hero, but nonetheless. Relentless for Malakai, I guess? Or Alden, rather, his Master Engineer. And, funnily enough, Ancestral Grudge might have happened here. You know what I feel? I feel Ancestral Grudge should add weapon strength and missile strength, so that this is useful not only in melee, okay? Why are you leaving the engineers and others out? It's very rude. Hit the Falls of Doom, time to bring Grimgor down. He's got a lot of grudges on him. Funnily enough, the Chaos Dwarfs probably have a lot of grudges for him as well. I don't think we need the Standard of Discipline here, although, you know what, funnily enough, if Ulrika takes massive amounts of damage, she can start crumbling away. So if anybody here needs this, it's probably her. Away we go. Man, all the other dwarfs were cheering so loud, I couldn't even hear Malakai's pre-battle speech. But that's alright, I suppose. He's already given us some pretty great adventure speeches, and I'm sure we'll have a few more as we go. Anyway, we've set up in a pretty darn perfect position. This is absolutely fantastic. We've got a raised position for our cannons, an elevated position for them, and the protection of a plateau on one side. We could have even put the cannons here, should we have desired to do so, while here we have 2 impassable terrains. This plateau plus this little impassable, well, piece of plateau, whatever, cliffside, allows us to stretch our entire line of Slayer pirates here. As long as a couple of trains don't come on by and run right through our line. That might have been a cool element for a battle with the Chaos Dwarfs. Sometimes trains just sort of moving onto the field and bombarding you. Could have added that for some special map maps or something. But anyway, yeah, the enemy is going to have a very tough time breaking through this, and then of course they will have to suffer under fire from our cannons the entire time. And as usual, we're sending the gyro bombers and all of our thunder barges, and I say all because in reality there are 3, and to deal with the enemy army and harass them all the way to our cannons. Alrighty, here we go. The gyro bombers are moving on in, getting those machine guns firing and dropping the first of their bombs on a unit of Black Orcs here. I'm not going to knock out too many models, but the HP damage is certainly there. Time to sort of go along the entire enemy army and drop as many bombs as we can, though the biggest focus is definitely going to be on the enemy range units. By the time we have our thunder barges move in, we don't want too many of the Gabo archers left alive. Anyway, gotta love the bombing run. Oh, it's fantastic. It's also making me immediately want to build more gyro bombers in another army. Well, we gotta have summon at least one more army. We can't just have them only on one, I think. But anyway, for now we're good. Keep dropping them bombs wherever you can while the thunder barges are getting ready to move in, and all the while the cannons are still firing at them. Regular, non-grape shot, mind you, but still pretty darn effective, I'm sure. And especially against the larger units. Anyway, finally, it looks like our thunder barges have reached the enemy, and the Spirit of Grungni immediately joins them as they do. And the orcs have no defense against this, especially considering that their goblin archer forces have been absolutely decimated. A glorious time to be an airship crewman. Or one of these dudes that are, well, I guess they're technically also, I mean, they are also crew, but I was just gonna point out these dudes that are chucking grenades from up there. It just seems like such a fun thing to do. Oh, what the heck? Did that... Did that grenade just smack into the middle of his own sort of little lookout post, crow's nest, and then bounce back into it? Oh my lord. Imagine if it exploded up there and just exploded the entire airship. Wow, that, I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. I think what actually happened is it went through the airship because it was, the object just is allowed to go through, but damn, I was not expecting that. Anyway, our thunder barges hover gloriously overhead and do an absolutely massive damage to the enemies below them, all the while cannon fire continues to come down. Man, I gotta love these things. I don't know what I'm having more fun with, the thunder barges or the land ships. They're both very, very entertaining units. Ooh, and I love when we get some sort of 3D action. You know what I mean? Like when a unit flies over another unit, flies over terrain, and thus the airships aren't all on the same level. Because they obviously wouldn't be all hovering at exactly like whatever meters they're hovering at. But anyway. Anyway, keep on going. And, ooh, some nice shots from the cannons. The enemy is blobbed up now. They weren't blobbed up before, but I think they don't know what to do. They've been corralled here. I wonder how many... I was wondering what the maximum height an airship like this could fly at. Probably not in the tens of thousands of feet, though. Anyway, the enemy army is pretty much done for. Ulrika gets a spell off just because she can, just because she's in this army and she has access to spells, and it's our only army that does, and it would be a waste not to occasionally use them. And most of the enemy orcs are booking it on out of there, while the thunder barges completely wreck this entire army. They never even got to our slayers. And once again, it's funny because this army in theory would be much stronger than the Chaos Dwarf army that we faced off against that did so much damage to our thunder barges, but here we took no damage whatsoever from them, simply because the enemy just didn't have the anti-air to deal with this sort of thing. When an enemy army has no anti-air and you have massive air superiority, it's always going to be very, very ugly. Anyway, here's a Ruby Ring of Ruin. Just launching a fireball at Ulrika while she knocks a few arrows and fires a few back. And who's doing that? It's Grimgor himself, slowly moving his way towards us while the rest of his army gets destroyed in the background. But there's no way Grimgor would go down to cannon fire or something from... Oh, wow. I like how he's just slowly walking towards us menacingly. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to move Gotrek in to have a nice little duel with Grimgor. I wonder who's going to win this. We are, however, going to give Mr. Gotrek some buffs. He's got a lot of them, hitting for nearly 1,000 weapon strength, 115 melee defense, 72 melee attack despite the You're Next on him's reductions. It's all pretty good, but who would carry the day between the two? We're not going to send Felix in, or we're going to let Gotrek fight him. And we're not going to send Ulrika in either. Maybe cast a few spells here and there, but the two can swing away with their axes at each other. And see which one wins the duel. Which is, of course, dangerous, as fighting Grimgor always is, but the buffs do allow Gotrek to have a massive superiority. That said, the buffs won't last forever, and all the massive amounts of melee defense and damage resistance that he gets will be gone sooner rather than later, and when they are, these guys will be on much more even footing. Man, I really enjoyed that bombing run. Alright, and keep on whacking away at each other. Here comes that Blood-Forged armor activation. Grimgor up to 180 armor, and now Gotrek has lost his buffs. Man, he certainly does that sort of spin forward animation quite a lot, doesn't he? There's a roll forward animation, I mean, but yeah, it makes sense. Alright, anyway, they keep whacking away at each other, and now Gotrek has started to take damage, and Grimgor has more or less stopped taking damage. Kind of interesting. Now that their stats are on par instead of Gotrek massively buffed up by the other stuff. Also, I still love seeing the... just trying to get a good camera angle. Still love seeing the Thunder Barges and the Gyro Bombers flying overhead in the background. It's a great sight. And yes, we absolutely could have easily killed Grimgor with all three heroes, but this felt more appropriate. Grimgor's down to 706 HP, but he was below a third of his HP, and Gotrek was still full and due to his buffs, but now they're a lot more... Ooh, nice slow motion swing there. Did he just hit Grimgor in the foot? Because that's what it looks like. It's not because he's short. I would never imply such a thing. And was that the final blow? Yes, indeed, it was at last. Grimgor goes down, but very, very close. It took a lot of effort, and the second sort of set of buffs came in just in time. And those were Gotrek's buffs, I believe, as the other two were still on cooldown. Still, a fun fight at the very least, very much for the Air Force and for Gotrek. Alrighty, very nice. An absolutely massive amount of damage from our Thunder Barges. A decent bit of damage from our cannons, but they never switched to Grape Shot, so they were just sort of sniping at the enemy army from a distance. Most of the damage came from the mix of Gyro Bombers and the Barges instead. And, we should start naming the bombers in this army as well as the cannons. All right, I'll take some of the names from the suggestions there next time. And anyway, Gotrek was pretty much the only unit that got hurt in this particular battle, and admittedly, Rune of Sanctuary is also probably wasted on him. We should put him at We should maybe put it on the Long Drong Slayers or one of the other parts, or even on one of the Gyro Bombers. They do get hit with both spells and missiles as well, or even one of the barges. Once again, we do want another Lichbone Pendant. But anyway, I also missed the War Banners from SFO that give missile and weapon damage, I believe, in addition to all the stuff. They're sort of a nice all-arounder banner that I like to put on artillery monsters. But anyway, yeah, Gotrek, that was definitely a stay out of this manling kind of moment, as he would have wanted to fight Grimgor. I will, however, admit that Grimgor won the fight. I mean, yes, technically speaking, Gotrek won the fight, but Grimgor lost about a quarter of his HP to random cannon fire before the fight began, A. B. Gotrek got buffs from both Ulrika and Felix, and just barely managed to edge out a win there. Plus, I do believe Gotrek is considerably higher level than Grimgor as well, but Grimgor is a very tough black orc, and one of the toughest characters sort of in melee around, so yeah. Certainly he'd have no chance against something like, I don't know, Teclis or Mazda Mundi that would just, you know, explode him from without ever getting into combat with him, but you know, in melee he's a toughie. Certainly was tough for Archie and pretty much anybody he ever fought. Anyway, we are good here, and we will occupy the place like so. Defeated Grimgor Ironhind gives us 10 armor and a little bit of extra armor piercing damage. Once again, it's not a big deal on Malakai himself though. Troll Slayer bonus versus Argent. Huh. Now we're getting Archivists? What the heck? Why are we getting Archivists now? We weren't getting them before. I swear, as soon as we confederated, we started actually getting a bunch of ancillaries that we were never getting before, like that Slayer ward. We didn't have a single one for 40 turns. Now we have like a dozen and are constantly getting them, or like 10, but still, it seems odd to me. Maybe there's a bug and only after the Confederation did we start gaining certain ancillaries. It's an odd thing. It's an odd coincidence. Out of curiosity, bonus versus large 80. If we use this Troll Slayer... still bonus versus large 80. It looks like the bonus versus large will only apply to your melee attacks and not your range attacks. We should probably put it on one of the Slayer fighters, like Gotrek, but also on a Dragon Slayer or on Ungrim or somebody. Unless you already have one. Okay, you personally don't. I'll deal with it later. Anyway. Let's see what else we gotta do in this particular turn, though. That was really fun. You have to pass through both the Altar of Spawns and the Winter Pyre. So go here to the edge of the Altar of Spawns. Build whatever we can build here for effectively free. In fact, exactly free. Free. And you know what I should have done? I should have built the first level of the refectory so that we could... Well, I guess we could come back next turn anyway. Or the turn after that, as we have to loop towards Krakadrek. Yeah, just build the refectory here for now. And then... wait. Yeah, we still have to get to the Winter Pyre. And then go all the way to the edge of this. You're very, very close to Krakadrek anyway. Alright. And like so, and then that for free as well, and then once again we're gonna... Ooh, 2 more turns. We're actually a turn ahead of schedule. That's lovely. I forgot what we were gonna build. Yes, the Silver Hall, plus the Tier 5 upgrade, which is currently 10,000. You know what I should have done? I should have sent you this way after all. Maybe to have to meet up with you. If we give it an extra turn, you might make everything there free as well. You are, after all, another constructor. Nice. Alright, that's working out well for us. Stochel, any chance you've caught that jerkwad Siggy? Indeed you have, Siggy. You're at the end of your rope, at the end of your run, I should say. You do like running, but you've run your last. Die. Time for the Jartrum to finally bring you down. Only cinders will remain of your beauty. What do we have here? A bunch of Forsaken. The 2 Aspiring Champions could potentially be an issue, but hopefully the Cannon Fire will damage him. Siggy himself, as we saw the last time that Stochel had a near last stand against his armies, was very difficult, but otherwise we should deal. Go. Alrighty, here we go. I think this is going to be a lot more interesting than I originally thought it might be. Here's the thing, this map is not very good for us. The terrain screws us over, and this map is generally kind of terrible for direct fire artillery. We effectively have only one place to set up. It's very difficult to fire down these sort of areas, especially if we want to keep the artillery sort of in one location. And as soon as the enemy essentially reaches sort of the midway through the ice pond, or whatever you want to call this, in the center of the map, what happens is they become hull down, and the hills essentially block the direct fire artillery from firing upon them. So while they're over here, they can still fire. As soon as they cross a little bit more, they won't be able to. This is going to be a problem for an army that's pretty darn artillery heavy, especially right now while we temporarily have the extra cannons in here. With a lot of them being unable to do anything, it's, well, we'll see what the enemy can make of it. So here comes Siggy wandering forward. For now, we can fire, and we've got to do our best to dish out as much damage as we can. We do still have the gyrocopters supporting with the brimstone guns, but they need to make sure to knock out the only units that are threatening them first, in the form of the Marauder Horsemen, and then focus on helping out with the rest, maybe dropping a few bombs into the big blob of enemies. Anyway, burninate those horsemen. It always feels weird for the AAI or for the units to be like turned away, even though they are able to fire backwards. It just feels like they're not focusing on you. Anyway, it looks like a few of the enemy fast movers have managed to reach us. Seeker Chariots moving in, but Stachel, Jarbeard, and Bernie are moving in together to try to help all of that out. Some Chaos Warhounds with Poison are trying to loop around us and go after artillery, but fortunately we did hide one of our units of Longbeards here in the trees, and the other one is here protecting our ranks from the other Seeker Chariots. Alrighty, keep on firing. Try to make those Seeker Chariots, damn, they certainly have enough mass to knock back all of those Iron Drakes, but fortunately not kill them, or at least not as yet. Also, based on the comments with regards to the lore of the Jartram clan, since they're fighting again, and Siggy moves on in, and both Bernie and Stachel are already here to meet him in battle together. We'll see how that goes, since Siggy was so threatening to us last time we fought that we couldn't even really send our lords and heroes to fight him, and just destroyed his army, forcing him to rout instead. We got some aspiring champions being targeted by some Iron Drakes here, and by the amount of HP, this isn't too bad. I mean, taking about 15 to 20% HP off a unit of aspiring champions with a unit not really intended for this sort of thing, I think that works quite nicely. Out here, the Poison Warhounds, together with the Aspiring Champions, are going to face off against our Longbeards with Great Weapons Grudge Settlers, and we'll see what they can do. Marauder units moving in to fight the Iron Drakes as well, and taking massive damage from it, unlike the Aspiring Champions, as more and more enemy units reach our lines. Flame cannons are still firing, but I believe the regular cannons no longer can, as their shots just don't arc enough. So we're going to have to make do with what we got. Chaos Spawn, once again, being something of an issue for this particular army. Hardly surprising, as they've been an issue for most of the early game Dwarf armies, and they wouldn't be here if this terrain favored us a little bit more, but it's okay. Sometimes the terrain really favors us, so it makes sense that sometimes it just doesn't. Anyway, our units are used to fighting in the flames, and they will continue to do so. Warriors of Dragonfire Pass, together with the Longbeards, will hopefully hold the Chaos Spawn back long enough for the rest of our units to hold back the tide. And they're doing quite well, with the balance of power rising to about 90% in our favor. Siggy still in combat, but neither Bernie nor Stachel are particularly damaged. Siggy did call a unit of Aspiring Champions in to help him out as well, but we should be able to burninate them out of the way so that they can continue their duel. Anyways, I was starting to say, you guys did seem to like the idea of the Jartram being originally related to the Chaos Dwarfs that I floated, and that seemed to be a popular idea with lots of suggestions based on what we could do with that. I kind of like the idea that maybe they never lost faith in the ancestor gods during the Chaos Cataclysm, and then eventually sort of split off from the Chaos Dwarves in basically a near suicidal attempt to cross back across the Darklands into the Northern World's Edge Mountains. Yeah. There was a specific comment that I liked about maybe some of the ancestors, or what the main ancestor, the original ancestor, staying behind to cover the retreat, and I really like that idea, although I'd like to expand on it as well. Instead of the original ancestor doing that, a bunch of the original Jartrom clan could have sacrificed themselves. Specifically, all of the Jartrom clan that were touched by chaos would have sort of stayed behind and covered the retreat of the rest of them, due to their presence in the during the Chaos Cataclysm, and being near the rest of the Chaos Dwarfs, and, you know, sharing an origin sort of thing. And obviously their cousins wouldn't tolerate even a hint of mutation, so the only way that they could cross would be to leave those guys behind, and they nobly sacrificed themselves for that purpose, while the rest of the clan retreated back across the Darklands. It really kind of reminds me of, for those of you familiar with the original Soul Drinkers from 40k, not the reformed Soul Drinkers, but the destroyed chapter of Soul Drinkers, who, despite all their crazy chaos mutations, sort of fought and died in the name of the Emperor, loyal to the end, which is lovely, and, you know, this kind of echoing it is something I like. Well, not all of them, but like most of them. But anyway, yeah, definitely gonna work that aspect into the idea behind this sort of community canon and dwarf clan. I love it. Keep the ideas for these guys coming, as I will still be working them into various things and combining them, and while doing what we generally do. Alright, a pretty glorious battle by virtue of the fact that the terrain really was not in our favor. It allowed the enemy a lot more of a chance to actually fight us. The Longbeards, the Grudge Settler Longbeards that have been with this army since basically the beginning, were instrumental in holding the enemy off. One of them facing down a unit of aspiring champions pretty darn well. The flame cannons, as usually, doing fairly decently here. And I think out of everything, the only thing I might replace is the Goblobbers. It just kind of doesn't fit with this army, though they do work well because of the Rune of Burning on them, which gives them fire damage as well, explosive fire damage. So they do still do the type of damage, but we could replace them with more flame cannons. Anyway, we do have additional cannons here as well to be replaced by flame cannons, or possibly one flame cannon and a thunder barge or fire barge, because we can give them flaming ammunition with sufficient Malakai's adventures. Anyway, fare thee well once again to Siggy. We're going to... we're not healing here, but on the other hand, there's nothing... There's no reason not to heal, is there? On the other hand, 1400 gold maybe is not that much. You know what, I'd rather not risk it. Let's heal up. Because we do still heal here. Damn. I thought that we wouldn't heal in the Northern Sea of Chaos, but apparently we do. Well, we'll head to the Fortress of the Damned, or I should say through the Fortress of the Damned, to start working on this. We have to get to the Twisted Towers before they rebuild a full stack, and before the damn Crag take too many territories back from Boris Ursus after we went to all that trouble in gifting him them. Ally mission successful, swell, though he doesn't really have any territory for, or any... anything to spend our allegiance on, because he hasn't built it yet. That's alright. Stachel, you and the Jartrom return here, and then you can probably both begin working on the Crag at the same time. We're not at war with them, which is weird, but that sometimes happens, so... And we'll get into war with them as soon as we reach the first of their settlements that are nearby. To Blood Mountain we shall go, regardless of the rebellions here. We really just need to connect with Boris, but if he keeps losing territory, then that's... it's gonna take a little bit longer. But I guess Stochel can take the Palace of Princes and then move this way, while Snorri moves this way and then meet up before looping back around, as I do believe the Frozen City belongs to the Decadent Host, so they will come back around this way. Well, nobody said it was gonna be easy to burn out all of the forces of chaos from the Northern Wastes, and besides, we've nearly reached suitable climate again. There's frozen climate all over here, and this last bastion of Slanesh here will actually be a territory that we can keep. It's just too bad that all of these territories have a lot of trade goods in them, which is kind of odd. You'd think they'd be so mutated that they wouldn't be worth anything, except to, you know, and those who are trying to collect mutated stuff or chaos sorcerers and stuff like that. But anyway, Frozen Landing, I fear, is not worth fighting. It's just piles of Skaven slaves. On the other hand, it is kind of fun watching them die. Huh. I might, you know what, I might save that fight. I might save it and actually fight it next episode, just because I think it might be fun. We have you, who could probably go down to kill the Veil of Woe, to go and take the Veil of Woe. Ungrim can continue through to Gorgia Rock, though Malakai... Or we could jump Ungrim over... Oh, we can't jump him over to Saberman. Alright, I guess Malakai, we're gonna have to you do it, while Ungrim moves to Gorgia Rock and then back around to Carrick Vlag and start going down this way. I do believe we're also closing in on the Maggot Host as well. And I guess we'll have to ask ourselves whether we want to send Malakai all the way over there to deal with them, or rather do we have Ungrim fight them instead. The thing is, there's a bunch of adventurers down here, and I'm inclined to say I'd prefer to see Ungrim take them on, or rather Malakai to take on the actual adventurers, head down here and complete them while Ungrim deals with this. And he does have buffs for killing chaos, doesn't he? Great Green Nemesis, Unliving Antagonist, Ruinous Rival. Hey, that's my favorite kind of rival. Warriors of Chaos, Demons of Chaos, yada 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 yada. So we still get the massive benefits against vampires and chaos and greenskins. Frankly, pretty much anything we want to slay, we can slay with gusto, so not so bad. I wish we weren't wasting points on Axe Lord, but when we have a few turns, we'll delete you and then we'll redo the points because the AI just... no. Anyway, I think then with that is probably a decent place to call it. Gotta move everybody into position. Where do we... Ooh. That's a camp, isn't it? No, it's just a bunch of burning skulls. Okay. I thought that was somebody's camp. It kind of looks like it could be. But it might be just a map element. Huh. Kind of unclear. Could it be a pile of Skaven or something over there? Oh, it's a little, it is a camp. It's a little tiny greenskin army. That's cute. That's cute. Anyway, you move here. And King Lund, this guy's gonna run from you. The run from King, close victory against this. Alright, we're only gonna fight one of these, in the sense that only one of the little garbage armies, either the Skaven slave pile, or the, this, I feel like because this is just dwarf warriors and cannons, it's not going to be as interesting as that, so we'll auto-resolve this one, and hope that there isn't another full stack nearby to capitalize on this, and occupied, of course, destroying the servants of the Conclave and completing one of our objectives, unless I'm mistaken. We'll empower the guilds here, of course. King Lun, you can continue marching toward Hoscrub, whatever. And though you're still gonna have to loop back around to meet up with Ungrim, probably down here around the Firemouth, maybe somewhere, to transfer him the Slayers. And after all, you have to build up your own army. Right now you're costing us a lot, and you're not doing anything with it, so yeah. I'm just gonna have to get a move on to get you into the appropriate position. Anyway, as I said, I'm gonna call it here. Next time we'll start the episode out probably with, once again, Grimbrindle, fighting the Clan Ferric remnants at the Frozen Landing, just for fun. And then moving Grimbrindle on towards Narcissum, Portal Pleasurer, and the other three champions of the Chaos Gods, while we continue destroying Sigvald's faction and turning upon the Crag, and continuing to cause havoc within Grimgor's territories. He should definitely be on the back foot now, second strongest faction or not. And though he's still, I mean, what, we took like 2 settlements, so he's down probably to 18 out of the 20 he had when we started, but whatever. Anyway, how's Cathay doing? They've lost some territories. I don't like that. We want those sky junks for our all-air army, and hopefully we can hold on to that idea. But we're just going to have to wait and see. But it won't be this time, so stay tuned for more Malakai. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, especially the threshold. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.